All right, everybody. Tis I hope Giselle. Okay. Y'all, this is a get ready with me. And so please understand that it is not to be confused or mistaken with anything or any of my actual political stuff. This is just me getting ready for my day. And I invite y'all to come in and do that with me. But one of the biggest things on the docket right now, the thing that everybody wants to know about, the thing that we're all talking about, is the fact that Auntie Dominique Morgan is home, child. And some of the people are upset, some of the people are indifferent, some of the people got thoughts and feelings, child. The people got thoughts and feelings. The people said, Hope, I'm away because I want to know what all of the activists and the famous girlies got to say about this, because y'all be protecting this bitch and y'all be saying all of the things about this bitch. And I need to know what y'all are going to say about Dominique Morgan now that she has been in the jails for more than 21 days. Because, the kids say, she said it was going to be 21 days. She said it was going to be 21 days. Y'all said it was going to be 21 days. Auntie was in there for 30 days. And we need to know what y'all are going to really say about the fact that this girl has been in there for 30 days. Let me tell y'all something. I stand by the statement that I made, which was a statement of neutrality on the situation. And the reason why, right, the reason why I stand on a place of neutrality, at least until Sunday, where I think that everybody's going to have to be forced to draw a line about what they think and what they don't think. The reason why I stand by what the fuck I said is because at the end of the day, none of us outside of Naquan deserves to be, put away. And let me say this, because some people were upset when I made that statement in the post that I made in support of Dominique. When you are a person who wants to commit violent acts on people who you do not know, you've never met these people, you've never been in the same space with these people have done nothing to you outside of exists in a way that obviously makes you upset, pisses you off, like that's a mental illness. And to that, I say you don't belong in those people's institutions either. But the reason for this, right, about me saying that Naquan definitely does belong in these people's institutions is because Naquan is not somebody who I would believe is just crazy or someone who is mentally unwell. Naquan has decided that this is the hill that he wants to die on. And so, therefore, I'm going to allow Naquan and all of his supporters to die on that hill with him. Because if y'all think that it is that important, if y'all think that it is that imperative to hate and dislike and have disdain in your heart for these trans people whom you've never actually met in real life, then by all means, Bookie Butts, y'all deserve whatever them white people say y'all deserve. And that's just that on me. That's just that on me. I don't believe in incarceration for people who have not committed violent, harmful crimes or people who do not exhibit some sort of pattern that this is going to happen again after it's already happened the first time. Naquan has already shown us that he don't give a fuck. He could get locked up again and again and again and again and again, and he's still gonna do it again and again and again and again. And these are not things that I'm assuming. This is stuff that Naquan has already said to us via his own mouth from the messages that he's asked for people to relate to us. And so at this point, all of this bandstanding about how, oh, y'all are abolitionists until it comes to certain people. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I would be an abolitionist until it came down to somebody who had, sexually assaulted my mom or my sister or me. I would be an abolitionist until it came down to somebody who was harming children in the neighborhood. I would be an abolitionist until it came down to somebody who was an imminent threat to their mother who happens to be an elderly woman. I would be an abolitionist until all of those things popped up. And y'all can be out here acting like y'all are just holier than thou and that you would hold on to that abolitionist mindset when it was your family that was being harmed by this person, but you wouldn't. And so what I advocate for is not the eradication of a police system. I am advocating for a system that uses community as the system of policing and not white people who were appointed to this, who really wanted to just be slave catchers. That is what I'm advocating for. And I think that some of y'all got the game fucked up and twisted when y'all hear people sit back and say things like, oh, I'm an abolitionist, or I don't believe in the jailing system, or I don't believe in X, Y, and Z. I don't believe in the jailing system as it currently stands because that was built off of the backs of what it meant to be a slave catcher. And so therefore it's never going to be an equitable system because that system was not built for us to actually receive equitable treatment while incarcerated. To be very, very clear. And so when I say everybody but Naquan, I also mean, and I'm using Naquan as the current reference, but to be very clear, I mean, if it was a motherfucker like Jeffrey Dahmer, keep his ass in there. Like I'm not in a space where I'm going to be out here acting like there are not some people that I do believe we can do away with. It's not necessarily that they're disposable, because they might find themselves to be very useful in prison. But that's where you need to be at, baby boy. That's where you need to be at, baby girl. That's where you need to be at, sibling, with all due respect and love, because some of you all don't know how to act when y'all are out here given freedom and given the autonomy to take license over your life and making the best decisions so that you don't have to go and experience things like that. And some of you all just don't know how to make the best decisions for yourself so that you don't end up in places like that. And in the event that you are one of those people, then my dear, all of that abolitionist talk goes out of the window, because it is clear that you are not going to be safe for yourself and or others. And so when we find out that you're not going to be safe for yourself and or others, guess what? You got to stay where you at. And you have to be dealt with in a system that you understood was not going to treat you fairly. One thing that I don't like, and I am going to get to my Dominique, but I had to address this statement because somebody was so upset about the fact that I mentioned Naquan. And then I had a couple of people inboxing me talking about the whole, oh, like, I thought you said you didn't like X, Y, and Z, but now here you are advocating for the whole, like, DL Whisperer to go to jail, X, Y, and Z. Cool. But here's the thing about this. That boy had ample opportunities before he was ever served with any papers, right? That boy had ample opportunity to get out of that situation before he was ever served with any papers. Before that boy was put in the back of a paddy wagon, cop car, whatever they came to get him in, before he was snatched away from the life that he now knows as life, he had every opportunity to mind his business, to back down, to leave them alone, to find a new set of trans girls to bother. He had every opportunity to change his sights, set his sights on something deeper. But the reason why he didn't set his sights on something deeper, the reason why he didn't set his sights on anybody else was because y'all told him, and by y'all, I mean all of you transmissic, cisgender, heterosexual, and some of y'all wasn't even heterosexual, but a lot of you anti-trans Black women that follow him, and this is not me singling out Black women, but this is me saying that the facts are that his audience is largely made up of Black women, were out here telling him that's what y'all wanted to see. And so for as much of y'all that claim that y'all support him, y'all got him locked up. Because y'all understand the power of social media. Y'all already knew what was going to happen. Y'all got that boy locked up. Not Madison, not Daily Dose of D, not Dominique, not any of the people that he harassed, not their families. Y'all got him locked up. Y'all got him to a place where he felt like it was comfortable to be able to come out and attack trans women and attack trans people and to think that shit was sweet and to think that shit was safe. And so therefore, y'all kept boosting him up to get more and more drastic, to get more and more guerrilla theater style with all of his bullshit. And now y'all are sitting around bebopping and poop popping about the fact that he's locked up and he's in jail and the system doesn't do X, Y, and Z. Well, guess what? The people who ended up having to put him in jail are people who advocate against that. Because to be very clear, Madison's first goal wasn't to lock that boy up. Madison's first thought wasn't, oh, let's put him away. Madison didn't go straight to the police. And mind you, there were months of him bothering this lady before she even went so far as to get the restraining order. Months. He had been online bothering the lady for months. He had been online talking shit about the lady for months. He finally does the most. He finally comes after her mama, and she says, you got me fucked up. She gets him locked up, and then y'all want to sit around and talk about who should be parroting their abolitionist talk now? No, I'm so sorry. This boy is off his rocker. And then to look at Madison say she went into the first court hearing and she felt a little bad because she understands the way that the system chews people up and spits people out, and she's expecting to go into this courtroom and see this man broken and battered and upset about where he's at and all of the things. And that motherfucker sat in that courtroom and said, and I'm going to do it again. And when I get out, I'm going to do it again because these is niggas. And if you didn't believe Madison when Madison said it, then he turned around and gave y'all a video footage proof of him saying the exact same thing, almost verbatim to what Madison said. So at the end of the day, no, I'm not advocating for somebody like that to be on the streets. No, I'm not advocating for somebody like that to be able to come and cause harm. Because if we let him out, if he gets out, he's already made a promise that he's going to continue to do what he's been doing. And now that he knows that there are consequences for his actions behind this, they're just going to escalate. And I'm not trying to claim anything negative or put anything negative on my sister's life or my auntie's life. Here's the thing that y'all have to understand. People like that, they have one goal and one goal only. And that goal is to convince the people that they have decided are their fans, are their viewers, that they are beholden to, that they have some sense of relevance and or they have some sense of usefulness. He wants to be useful to this audience of predominantly Black women who want to see Black trans women fall and, basically just not have autonomy over our lives or the way that we navigate public spaces. And so this man is going to come out and he's going to be a lot more dangerous because one, he got something to prove. And two, at this point, he's been locked up so long, he got to do something drastic. He's not going to be able to get out and be a decent person or a decent human being because we've already shown him that him being decent ain't going to work. Him being decent doesn't get views. But you know what gets views? Him being violent. And so if he's going to come out and we already know he's going to be violent, why would we let him out? Why would we let him out? If you have a pit bull and these people tell you, oh, you can train this pit bull. This pit bull is going to be the best pit bull you've ever had. It'll only attack your enemies. If you learn these commands and all of these different things, you'll be perfectly fine. This pit bull is going to be all right. And you keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying. And every single time you let this pit bull out, it snaps at your baby. It snaps at your baby. It snaps at your baby. And then finally, one day, that pit bull gets out. It snaps at your baby. But this time, the snap turns into a little bit of a bite. Your baby has a small little cut on its finger from trying to touch that dog. You put that motherfucker back in the crate. And some of us will take that motherfucker back somewhere else so that we don't have to deal with it anymore. But you put that little bitch back in the crate and you learn your lesson the first time. Because we've also learned and we've understood that this dog does not play by the rules that everybody wants it to play by. This dog isn't going to just behave. This dog isn't just going to do what it's told. This dog has already shown us that it is not going to acquiesce to what everybody else around it wants it to do. And so therefore, this dog has to remain crated, especially when my baby is out here, because you've already shown me that you are not going to behave no matter how much I think you've been trained. That is what Naquan has shown us. And I think that people like Naquan and like those dogs and like those types of people do need to be incarcerated, not just for our safety, but for their own safety. Because what happens is when they realize that they no longer have an audience, they start to panic and they start to do things not to other people, but to themselves. If you have been in any human studies or any human psychological studies class, you know these things. And as a person who is currently in school, this stuff is coming in handy because I'm starting to understand the nature of human beings and the natural essence of the way that people navigate their behavior when they are in fight or flight, or when they're grasping at straws for attention. A lot of these people are really exhibiting juvenile traits of people who are seeking attention. It's like when you turn your back on a child who's like, oh my God, look at me. I just learned how to do this really cool thing. And you're like, okay, baby, I'm gonna look. And you don't look. You never look at this baby. And eventually what happens is you think that the baby's gonna get over it. The baby don't get over it. The baby don't get over it. The baby just decides that I'm going to get more and more overzealous with the way that I'm trying to show you this because I need you to see this trick that I was doing. And so now the baby goes from being entertaining to possibly becoming a risk. And you don't even see the risk happening because you didn't want to pay attention to the baby in the first place. And I feel like people like Naquan are like those 5-year-old kids who's like, look at what I can do. And when you don't pay attention, you look up and now they're jumping off the top bunk bed and it crack their fucking face open on the goddamn tile floor underneath. And this is why I think that so many people who have an issue with me saying that nobody deserves to be incarcerated except people like that have a problem, but they're not looking at it from the lens of Naquan being seen as somebody who is out of control. They're looking at it from the lens of an adult who has autonomy to make these decisions, and he's making all the wrong decisions, and y'all are trying to reward him for these bad decisions. So that's just my 2 cents on that. And I want to focus on what I really came here to talk about, which was Dominique. But I did have to give that, I had to like let that be known and make that clear, because so many people are out here trying to pretend like, that was just the worst thing in the world that I could have said. And I meant it, and I'll say it again. Okay. Now, Dominique Morgan is officially out of jail. I've given y'all the overarching point of how I feel about this. And like I said, Dominique is going to be making her video where she's apparently going to address it all. Now, there is going to be some of it that's going to be behind the paywall. Too bad, so sad for the people who don't know her personally, or the people who just don't have it to be able to pay for the gossip that you want to hear. But I'm sure at some point somebody will screen record something and send y'all all of the cliff notes. Now, for those of you all who will not be watching live because you can't afford it or you don't know her, I am going to say that that's another thing that I told y'all, like I did when I made my first video, that I'm going to be waiting for. I truly do want to hear what Dominique has to say about what's happened and how we really got here, because I find myself in a position where I feel like everybody is talking and everybody's making these roundabout statements, but nobody's really saying the things or getting to the nitty gritty and the meat and potatoes of all of this stuff. And while I support organizations that are doing the work, I'm also finding through the grapevine that there's a lot of plot holes and a lot of things that are not being addressed by certain people that are a part of this particular scandal, mainly and namely the people that, have us here in the first place, i.e. the folks over at the Okra Project. Now, this is not to say that I don't think that you should support the Okra Project, but it is to say that I hope that everybody has swept around their front door, their back door, and locked all of the windows. Because if it's one thing that we do know about Dominique, is that once she has the license to really strike you in the forehead, oh baby, she's going to. Because she gonna do it whether she has the license or not. But especially if she knows she justified in this whacking of the forehead, and she knows that there's going to be very little blowback or backlash from this whacking, this stern whacking, as she would say, then she's going to whack you real hard. And I think that what we all have to also understand is that on top of the stern whacking that she's very likely to give, that lady done sat in jail for 30 days behind this. A woman who's already sat down for 10 years has just had to sit in jail for another 30 days behind this. And we know that Dominique is maintaining the fact that there's a lot more to this story that the people just don't know. And so I could only imagine if I had to go somewhere and sit down, lay down, shut up, accept, and be okay with the fact that I just got to be in here for 30 extra days after I've done 10 years worth of whatever. And granted, You know, people say a hard head make a soft ass. And so therefore, if you did a thing and you knew that that was the consequence, then hey, that's on you. But one of the things that I'm sure of is that a person does not stand this tough in the paint if they don't have something up their sleeves, if something in that milk isn't clean, if some part of their story is not true. And so I just find it mighty strange and mighty funny that now that she's out, everybody who has so much to say is deleting and backtracking and taking things back and reneging on some of the stuff that they said. And I know that some of y'all are like, Hope, but who's doing that? People have actually done that. There have been receipts, especially if y'all are part of the Threads family. There have been receipts over there on Threads of people who made these videos and these think pieces and some of these thread posts and all of this stuff. And folks folks have screenshotted, because people who are more petty than me and people who I think rival the pettiness of Dominique herself, they screenshotted y'all. So when y'all was talking all of that shit 30 days ago about what was going to happen and what wasn't going to happen and X, Y, and Z, now motherfuckers have to backtrack, and there are receipts for the backtrack. And so I'm just really curious about how people are going to play this, right? They were that when I say showing their ass on Threads and doing all of the things, and baby, the people were acting up. And now that that girl is out, y'all are around here trying to make it seem like y'all were her best friend. And all of the receipts that are being collected and all the receipts that have been collected are wearing y'all the fuck loose. Are wearing y'all the fuck loose. If you knew you were going to be on the fence, why say something in the first place? That's just that like, for me, that's the only like real problem that I have with some of y'all, is that if you knew you was going to be on the fence, why would you open your mouth in the first place? Like that's just my whole thing. If you know that you are not sure about how you feel about this, why would you go out of your way to side with the side that you weren't sure if you were going to have to like renege on? If I knew for a half of a second that if some other information came out, that would be enough for me to change my opinion about this, I'm not going to put that opinion out, because I don't want to have to redact shit. When I say it, I want to mean it. And even if I have to apologize, just know that the first time that I said it, I stood in that paint because that's what I believed that first time. And so I don't understand how people be so ready and so gung-ho to be out here just dismissing what they really feel, how they know they're going to feel, for the sake of trying to have a quick moment on social media where motherfuckers that's not going to be there for you when you get your stern whacking. Because a lot of the people that Dominique is going to whack in the forehead, all of the people and all of the views and all of the checks that you done got, nobody's going to be there for you when she hurt your feelings. Right. And again, some of the people who had things to say, it wasn't based off of like social media shit. It was based off of other things that, you know, are community based. And I'm not talking about like intercommunal stuff, but I'm talking about all of y'all that were on the outside looking in. All of you people that use this moment to be transphobic, all of you people that have played in everybody's face and pretended like you were a part of the queer movement and you were about queer liberation and queer justice and all of this and that. But the second that this happened with Dominique, you used it as an excuse to be homophobic and transphobic and all of the phobics and all of the mystics and all of the things. Yeah, I hope that come Sunday when Dominique starts whacking people and she take out her Harriet Tubman stick and tells you motherfuckers where y'all can get off and go, I hope you ready for your stern whacking. I just do. I hope that you're ready for your stern whacking. And I also hope that whatever comes out of this, because whatever Dominique says, if Dominique get up there and says, you know what, I did it, and now that I've served my time, I could tell y'all why I did it, I hope that also the people that are standing 10 toes down are still going to stand 10 toes down. And I'm saying this because I see a lot of people also saying that. Right? There's a lot of y'all and there's a crew of people that's just like, oh, you know, I'm standing by Dominique no matter what, 10 toes down. I don't care if she did it. I don't care if she didn't do it, da 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 da, and all of the things. Cool. But in the event that Dominique gets up there on Sunday and says, okay, now because there's not, you know, any legalities behind it, I've served my time, I can't be tried again, no double jeopardy. That's a fire ass movie. If you've never seen it, go watch it. Right? But there will be no double jeopardy on this. I can give y'all the real. If Dominique gets on that screen and says, okay, I did it, but here's the nuance behind it. All of y'all people that are saying that y'all would support her and y'all riding 10 toes down, you better still be 10 toes down, because I remember y'all. right? People remember the people that said the fuck shit, but I also remember the people that are out here saying that they gonna ride through whatever. Because I also know that some of y'all ain't riding through whatever. And I just want to see how many of y'all are gonna admit that you can't ride through whatever. Because I also want to see if the people who are on the morality police are going to be just as in those people's chest as they were for the people who added nuance to the conversation. Because if it's one thing that I know, it's nuance. And that's the way that I speak. And that's how I speak about most of the topics, right? That's how I speak about most of the topics that I'm brought in and talk about. And I just want to see. I really want to see over the next couple of days, into the next couple of weeks, and probably through like maybe July. I want to see how this is going to play out, because I know y'all are going to wear it into obscurity. I know we're going to see a lot of, retaliation videos. And the saddest part about this, but also the most sickening part about this, is the way Dominique is going to eat financially off of all of these people who have nothing else better to do. Because that's the other thing. The way y'all finna put money in this girl pockets who y'all don't even fucking like, it's gonna be crazy. Because I guarantee you, Dominique has a lot of supporters that are gonna tune in on Sunday and watch it however she wants it to be watched, or stream it or read it, or however she's gonna decide to tell her truth. But one of the things that is so fucking funny to me is how many of the haters that can't stand Dominique that's gonna go and buy this. Because she's already named that she finna put it behind a paywall, right? Dominique has already said she finna put this behind a paywall. So the fact of the matter is that if you're an op, and I want to say this very clearly to all of the ops, okay? If you're an op, if you're a person that doesn't like trans people, if you're a person that doesn't like Dominique, if you're a person that claims that you're above this entire situation, but you go and you spend however much money Dominique finna charge to listen to this story, I just need you to know that you've invested in the very thing that you're claiming that you don't support and that you don't like, for the sake of being able to make a video that may or may not get views. But meanwhile, she's definitely going to get a check off of the fact that you wanted to be nosy. And so I really need some of y'all to think about the decisions that you finna make come Sunday, because depending on how quickly that video comes out, it's gonna tell Dominique exactly who you are. Because a lot of y'all are not haters, you're fans. So you got to be careful of when that analysis comes out, Bookie Buzz, because you're going to be snitching on yourself. And I probably shouldn't be giving y'all this type of game, but I'm giving it to you because I want some of y'all to, at the very least, look unbothered, like you finna pretend like you are in these 4-hour videos that y'all finna make, right? I want some of you all to at least be able to achieve the illusion of this unbothered that you're claiming that you are. But I just know, come Sunday, if your think piece is out before Monday morning on paper, meaning that you got your video up and ready by 12 midnight or before then on Sunday, but you say you don't care and you say that Dominique is this, that, and the third, that means I know that you paid. I know that you paid, okay? And it's gonna be 1,001 people gonna be like, no, I didn't pay my friend. But also, you wanted the information that bad from your friend who paid. So regardless of what, this person that you are saying does not preoccupy space or time in your world, and all of these different things preoccupied enough space and time for your friend to pay, and then for you to go to your friend and ask for all the details and the dirty, juicy nitty gritty of it all. So either way it goes, I need y'all to understand that in an attempt to make sure that Dominique loses, you're putting money in her pocket to be able to discuss her, which gives her a win. So be mindful of how quickly y'all come up with them think pieces, because I promise you, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And for those who are going to be waiting on my response after Sunday's didgeridoo and doodah day, that'll be a part of I'll Wait Live. This is not I'll Wait Live. This is just to get ready with me. This is something that I do and that I'm going to try to do most days when I'm at home and when I'm stationary. I don't like filming and doing stuff like this when I'm in a hotel room and all of that stuff, because I don't care what nobody say. I'm going to admit it. I don't like when the lighting is not in my favor, and I don't like having to set up all of this makeshift lighting and all of this other stuff that you have to do when you at hotels. That's just not my zhuzh. It's not my jam. I like to be able to control the way that the skin and the things look, and I like to be able to control my sound and all of those things. And so as long as I'm home, we'll do the get ready with me's. But I will be doing my episode of I'll Wait Live probably next week, Wednesday. as a response to whatever Dominique puts out on Monday, because I'm not a person that just wants to jump on it and then be the first person to commentate. I'm gonna let y'all commentate for a little bit. So by Wednesday, I should be done ideating over how I feel. And if you are pressed to know how I feel about the situation after Dominique has given her ones and twos, because I know that some of y'all are just waiting on that, then you can wait until Wednesday when I'll be doing my I'll Wait live show, and I will give y'all my full feedback and thoughts about how I feel about all of this foolishness then. But one of the things that I want to say is, for the people who are not violent offenders, for the people who have not committed egregious crimes to humanity, for the people who are not out here directly causing physical harm or physical violence, I don't think that any of us should be caged or locked up. I think that this entire situation could have been and should have been settled by the Okra Project and Dominique and folks within community. I feel like it's mighty strange how people can host all of these different like prayer circles and work through circles for people who they believe are abusers in community. And these are not even people who are trans abusers. These are people that have been accused of being abusers while being cis people, both men and women. And we've been able to hold community accountability circles for cis people, but we can't hold community accountability circles for our own brothers, sisters, and siblings. And that to me has just never sat right with me about this particular situation, because it makes me feel like this is not about that. It makes me feel like it's never been about the idea of actually getting accountability from Dominique or actually listening to her side of the story. It's always been about the idea of capitalizing off of the fact that Dominique has garnered a certain amount of fame. Because that's the other thing that I want to say without directly talking about the case itself. I think that it's very interesting and it's strange how people will pop up when you pop in, but before you were popping, nobody really cared enough to actually say anything about any of the stuff that was going on. And I say all of that to say this. I have experienced, so much stuff in my career and in my lifetime as it pertains to navigating these social media streets. And so I know how the girls play, and I know how the people, navigate a lot of these problems. Y'all don't be having an issue with stuff that y'all have heard until that person starts to supersede what you believe that they should supersede in your eyes. So a lot of y'all have heard this story, 90 going left. A lot of people had already known what was going on, 90 going north. A lot of y'all had already formulated your opinions for years before it ever actually hit the scene of the things. And I know because I had heard the whispers myself before everything hit the whispers of the streets, of the things, and the things. The issue with that, though, is that a lot of y'all didn't care to speak up or say all the things that you're saying now until Dominique started blowing up and becoming the people's auntie. And that's the part of the conversation that I don't think any of us are actually addressing or having. And that's something that I do want to talk about. It's really interesting that a lot of us had heard the whispers and the murmurs about Dominique being this person and this fraud and this thief and all of these things. And it was just like, oh, okay, well, girl, I guess that's a rumor about Dominique. Cool. If she did it, that's fucked up. If she didn't do it, whatever. Some people was like, if she did it, whatever, is reparations. She stole from the white people. She didn't really steal directly from Black trans people. And so it's cool. Everybody had their own opinions about it, but it was all like mum's the word. The second that Dominique starts going viral every other day, if not every day, now all of a sudden everybody want to speak up and say that she's a thief and she's this and she's that. A lot of y'all don't give a fuck about the nature of what's happening or why it's happening to Dominique. Y'all only want to be able to tear her down because y'all wish that it was you. Some people out here who are making these videos, a lot of these cisgender women out here who are making these videos, a lot of you gay men out here who are making these videos, I notice a pattern. When I do decide to get on y'all page and just be nosy a little bit, be nosy right fast, right quick, I'm seeing that you are a person who wanted to be a content creator and either failed miserably or nobody's actually watching your content. And one of the things that I have to say is that it's dramatically obvious when people go to your page and we realize those things, that this has nothing to do with equity, or it has nothing to do with the trans community. It has nothing to do with your love for trans people. It has nothing to do with morality even. It has everything to do with the fact that Dominique is getting something in her bonnet, and her little bill, as she would like to say, her little bill moments, than you are ever getting with your whole entire lighting setup and all of the research that you do to talk about your topics and all of this and that. And let me tell y'all something. Being jealous of somebody else's natural abilities is never going to suit you. What was meant for that person was always going to come to that person, and there was never anything that you were going to be able to do about it. And being jealous and being upset and trying to fast track a burning fire for your own good is never going to make you look better. If it's one thing that I've learned, if a person comes to me and the first thing that they want to do is talk to me negatively about somebody else, I am assuming that you're trying to get in front of something negative that this person is going to tell me about you that's going to make a lot more sense than the sense that you try to make. And I will tell that to anybody and everybody who will listen. If the first thing that a person does to you when you enter a new space is try to talk shit about a person that's in the space with y'all, but they like making it their business to like hurry up and tell you and warn you and give you all of these things about this person, it's very likely that they're just trying to get in front of some bad information that you're going to get about them from that person in a more organic way. Don't trust that shit. Don't trust that shit. Don't trust that shit. Anybody who is so gung-ho and so ready and so all of the things and just can't wait to pour you the tea in all the negative ways about people as soon as you get into a new space, it's very likely because they're trying to rewrite the narrative before you understand that they were the villain in everybody else's story. Like when you get to a new job, for instance, y'all ever been at a place where you got you a new job, you have an onboarding supervisor or whatever the case may be, and your onboarding supervisor is the most messy bitch that you ever did meet in your fucking life. They telling you about who done slept with who. They telling you about all of the things. They're trying to convince you that this particular person is going to be super, super difficult to deal with and all of this and that. And it's just like, no. Nah, what you're really trying to do is get in front of the fact that as soon as you leave here, somebody's going to pull me to the side and let me know that I need to be mindful of my lunch in the refrigerator because you be stealing shit. That I'm also need to be mindful of how much time I spend talking to you because you're going to tell me that it's okay that we're sitting here gossiping. But if I miss that deadline, you're going to write me up for it. There are so many things that I'm going to find out about you the second that you walk away from me, but you want to instill a trust in me by way of telling me negative information about other people. When people are trying to build their relationship with you off of a disdain or negative feelings about other people, again, be weary of those people. Be wary of those people. So if you are with people, I know people and I love people who don't care for Dominique. But when I'm around those people, every other word out of their mouth is not, oh, fuck Dominique. Dominique's a horrible person. Dominique this, Dominique that, Dominique this, Dominique that. And so that's how I can understand. And that's how I know that the disdain for Dominique on those people is based off of whatever the fuck happened before all of this shit went down. Some of y'all only don't like, some of you all don't have a reason not to like Dominique. You just don't like her because she's Dominique and you're using this particular situation in order to make yourself feel justified about not liking her. And there's a difference. Like some of y'all are really out here just using this moment to be like, yeah, this is why, when really it has nothing to do with that. It's not about that. But but the thing about it is, if you go out and you directly say like, oh, the reason that I don't like Dominique or the reason why, I feel this particular way is because I just feel like she doesn't present her content in a specific way. And I go out of my way and I do all of this stuff and nobody ever sees my stuff, but she goes viral every day. If you say that, you like a hater. If you say that you don't look motivated in your own craft, if you say those things, you look like exactly what you are. And I hate the fact that y'all be so ready and so boisterous about being everything except the thing that you actually are, which is a hater. You are a hater. And it's okay. All of us have somebody that we feel a way about. All of us have someone that we feel a specific way about. All of us have a person or people or different folks that make us just feel a little bit less bright. And it's not because they've done anything to us. It's not because they've gone out of their way to make us feel small. It's just because this person is a manifestation of everything that we want to be, but are not yet. And I think for a lot of you all who have an issue with Dominique, it's because she's become a manifestation of everything that you want to be, but have yet to achieve just yet. And there's nothing that you're going to be able to do about that except continue to work in your shit, work in your craft, do better, be better, and eventually your opportunity is going to come. Don't think that people just became who they are overnight because they made a single video. Some people, including some of those overnight sensations will tell you that that overnight success is fleeting, that that overnight success is a lot more exhausting. You know why? Because you weren't prepared for that. That overnight success is exhausting because you wasn't prepared for that, boo. That requires stamina that you didn't build. A lot of these new age creators, y'all know why they don't last long, because when y'all make them famous overnight, they're not used to dealing with the backlash and people not agreeing with every single thing that they say, because they're used to, and they came on the scene because they went viral for the right reason, and everybody was a sycophant for 6 months. And so now the first time that they say something that somebody doesn't like, they have a meltdown and a crash out because they've spent the last 6 months of their career getting love bombed by everybody because of that one viral video, because of that one thing that they did. The reason why other people like myself, like Dominique, like T.S. Madison are able to survive these spaces is because we've been through this. Before we were those people, we had to pay our dues. Before we've been those people, we've had to pay our dues. We've had to get our asses handed to us in these comments. We've had to have people call us all types of names and give death threats and say all of these different things. Like, it's just, I really don't think that y'all understand what really goes into becoming the people that you are so envious of and so jealous of, that you would go out of your way to say that these folks still deserve to be incarcerated. The fact that some of y'all are really upset with the fact that I said that the DL Whisperer should stay where he at, but Dominique should be free, and y'all are trying to compare the two infractions. They're not the same. They're not the same. This man threatened a disabled older Black woman, but Black women are still out here saying that Madison is the problem. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And somehow, some way in you all's mind, in y'all's head, y'all have found a way to justify being able to say, oh, well, Madison is the problem, and he's standing up for women. But Madison's mother, Miss Mary, is a biological woman. So even if you don't like Madison, one, you don't respect your elders, and two, you don't respect all biological Black women. You only respect the ones that have the same ideologies as you, which is trans women ain't women. And so even though Miss Mary is a cisgender woman who is just standing by her baby, that don't matter to y'all, because it's not about that. And it never has been. It's never been about protecting women. It's always been about being able to vilify trans women without people being able to clock you for it. And I hate that y'all won't and have never just said that. I hate that y'all won't and have never just said that. That's all I'm going to say about that. I hate that y'all won't and have never just said that. Because for a lot of you all, you don't care about women. It's not about whether or not Madison has been disrespectful to women. It is about being able to have a platform where you can come together with other people who don't like trans women and talk about how trans women are horrible without feeling like the oddball and the weirdo that you are. You don't want to feel like a weirdo. And so you've joined another group of women who's just as weird as you, that is led by a man that has convinced y'all somehow that he's going to lead y'all to the promised land with empty promises and false prophets. And y'all are now using that as an alibi to be disrespectful and disgusting. And I would prefer y'all just say that. I would really prefer that y'all just said that instead of pretending like this was about some sort of moral call to protect women. Because if y'all really wanted to protect women, it's no way that y'all would have sat back and let him say those things about a disabled Black woman. It's just no way. I cannot believe that y'all would be out here saying that this is about the protection of women, but then turn around and let this man say the disgusting things that he said about Miss Mary, a disabled elder Black woman who is being taken care of by her trans daughter. Oh, ain't that about a bitch? Ain't that about a bitch, girl? That's the thing that's so funny, because you'll have these same people that are on the internet spewing all of this hatred, talking all of this shit, and then when you are in this predicament, when you in the same predicament as Miss Mary, the people that come and protect you and honor you and show you love are the same trans people and the same sissies and punks that you've spent your entire life advocating against. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? My. But I'm just here to do makeup. I ain't even really here to preach to y'all like that. I'm just here to do makeup or whatever. I ain't even here to preach to y'all like that, bro. I'm just here to do makeup or whatever. I'm just here to get ready for my day. I am just here to get ready for my day. But yeah, those are my 2 cents for now until we get more information on Sunday. And then I will see y'all again on Wednesday about that particular topic. So, Now let me tell y'all something. This is Japanese mascara. And if you ever needed a mascara that is not going to come off, you ain't gonna be able to cry this bitch off. You ain't gonna let me tell y'all something. TikTok, I can't do it the way I'm gonna do it. But like, all right. It's called lash hype. It looked like it, right? Because TikTok will kick me off. But baby, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That glossy eye is pretty. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. For all of you all who are only here for the Dominique Morgan portion of it, I'm done talking about Dominique. This is just the get ready with me portion. So thank y'all for joining me. For those of you all who just want to shoot the shit with me for the rest of the video, feel free to stay and pop some topics in the chat boxes. Mascara will hold on to your secret. Baby, when I tell you something, this mascara from Japan has been the GOAT since I got back. And I will definitely be going again this summer just to get it again. This is called Lash Hype. And as far as I know, they only have it in Japan. But it is so good. It is so good. Thank you, poet. How you doing, Mia? It was nice to see you. I hate that though. I ain't gonna hold you, Mia. I do hate that. So for those of you all who can't see her comment, actually let me post the comments. But for those of you all who can't see Mia's comment, when I was in DC a couple of weeks ago, I ran into Mia. She was my Uber driver. But I also really hate that. I hate that because sometimes you just never know how people gonna be, and like I just be wanting to live my little life and not be feeling like I gotta be on my best behavior. But Mia was cool. I don't know why, but I've never been a mascara girly. I'm always a mascara girly because I want to save my lashes. And also I just feel like I don't know, like I love y'all. I love to see y'all in the big lashes. I just feel like they clock me. I feel like a cute coat of mascara, especially because I already have very long lashes to begin with, is all I really need. I don't really need the shabams and the whoop wops and the wop wop wops, right? So I can just do a quick, 2-3 coats of mascara and I look like I got on a nice little falsy Miami from Lily Lashes. But if you're one of those people that absolutely need it, then I understand why, but I'm not a fan. I'm late to the combo, but I know that you're a woman of good morals, so I know that you're speaking the gods. Let me tell you, Sade, I am really I'm really at a space where for me, it's not even about morality anymore. I think that it's just about stopping the witch hunts in the name of other shit when it's really about jealousy. I'm here for people feeling a way about something if I know that you genuinely feel a way about that thing, regardless of what's going on. But I know that some people are only having this conversation about Dominique because they feel a way about Dominique, right? Y'all let me know if y'all can hear that fan. But now that I'm here in my little fake studio, child, these lights get hot over here. So I'll be having to like decompress or I'm going to melt my little makeup off. A little wispy doesn't hurt, but I get you. You're not doing pageants, so why bother with a 301? Yeah, no. No, I remember the first time somebody showed me a 301 lash and I almost fainted because why are we wearing lashes this big? Okay. What do you think about the NAACP asking the NCAA athletes to boycott? I actually think that that's a really great idea. I think that all of our Black athletes, I think that all of our Black boys should be boycotting all of the SEC schools because they're getting out there and they making all of this money off of our black athletes. They got y'all out there running balls and shooting the sports and doing all of the things, but then they're turning around and enacting all of these racist policies. And so for me, you can't like Black men when it comes down to getting all of this money for your state, for these stadiums and all of the things that they get money for. When it comes down to these boys playing these games and these footballs and the basketballs and all of the things, but then you vote in the interest that's not going to even support these boys being able to have a comfortable way of life in that state. So you want our boys to be comfortable enough to play football and basketball and all of the things that they typically dominate in, but you don't want them to be able to vote. You don't want them to be able to have a good Saturday night when they're not playing. You don't want their moms to be able to afford feeding their siblings with WIC or food stamps. You don't want anybody to like. I don't understand how in these places that are very, very, very dependent on Black athletes going to these schools and doing well in sports could also be out here at the same damn time turning around and saying things like, oh, well, yeah, no. We definitely want to redraw that map, though. That just doesn't make sense. You want to eradicate their voting power while also empowering them to continue to play sports that bring in millions of dollars for y'all. Bleed them motherfuckers dry. That is how I feel. We need to really reckon and settle with the fact that these people don't like us. And I think that the parents of these boys that are going to these schools need to stand for something. And it's no tea, no shade. And I'm not really trying to I think that it's easier, right? When you on the outside looking in and this is not your meal ticket. And so you don't understand. And I get it. I wouldn't understand because I'm not looking at my son or my daughter as, a meal ticket out of the hood. I'm not. But I also think that it doesn't matter if you can get out of the hood if all of the laws suggest that you're not a person when you leave. Because you're trying to get out of the hood to go and live where the white people live at, and the white people are starting to redraw it up so that you can't even live there. So you want to send your son to go and play football and make all of these white people rich that are turning around and telling you that you can't use your food stamps for certain things. Come on. These people are actively telling you how they feel about you and your baby, but you still gonna let him go play at this school? These people are actively telling you how they feel about you and your baby, but you still gonna let him play at this school? That doesn't make sense to me. These people have explained to us on so many fronts how little our lives mean to them outside of them being able to be commodified. And the fact of the matter is, when we keep showing up, thank you, thank you, Milan. When we keep showing up in the ways that we show up, it tells them that we don't care. That's all people hear is that we don't care. So I think that the NAACP, I have my own gripes about the NAACP and the way that they do show up for the Black queer community that is not Black gay men and Black lesbian women. I just feel like outside of the occasional, masculine lesbian woman showing up, and the occasional respectable feminine gay man showing up, or gay man showing up in general. There's not a lot of queer representation in the NAACP, and I think that that's done on purpose because, again, I'm going to stand on this 10 toes down. In a world and in a year where Madison had everybody saying Puerto Rican, for her to not be nominated as a cultural impact person in social media is crazy to me. For her to not even be invited to the NAACP awards as a major voice within the Black culture is crazy to me. And I'm not going to, like, it's not going to continue to go lost on me that there are so many Black trans women in the political space. Again, I don't fuck with this bitch. Can't stand her guts. But Angelica Ross is out here doing live videos with the candidate in California that she's trying to help get elected. There are so many Black trans women, myself, who is out here talking about HIV healthcare, as well as politics and what's going on and making these things accessible for people. And so when I look at the NAACP and when I look at who they invite, when I look at who they intentionally want to make sure is in the room, that doesn't look like a space that's encompassing of Black trans people, but it looks like a space that's encompassing of certain queer people that they've decided are tolerable. And so, I definitely understand, and I'm gonna agree 10 toes down with the decision to make sure that those athletes stop going to those schools or stop accepting those offers from those schools. But I think that the NAACP also has to ensure that they are doing right by the entirety of the Black community. Like, y'all got to make sure y'all are doing right by the entirety of the Black community and all the people that are doing the work. And I used to feel bad about the idea of wanting my accolades, but no, I want my accolades, because when I see cis people doing this work, and when I see them get fatigued, and when I see them have all of these moments where they just feel like they're being overlooked and not seen, people don't tell those cis people like, oh, oh my God, it's just so much. Like, if you doing the work for that, then you shouldn't be doing the work. People don't say that. People don't say that. People celebrate the fact that those people have done that work. People advocate for those people to continue to get their work done, because you understand that when you are doing work, having incentive to keep doing that work is a part of why you do it. None of us show up to our 9 to 5s and say, I'm gonna keep doing this job if my manager is trash, if there's no benefits, if I don't get bonuses or quarterly or whatever, or if I'm on commission, but y'all take 58% of the commission and leave me with that plus the taxes that are still going to come out of my check. Like, everything that you do in life as a job, everything that you do in life for a job is something that you are also incentivized to do. And so I believe that activism, I believe that advocacy, I believe that influencing, I believe that all of the things that we do in the social media scape, talking head, educators or edutators, all of these people that put their space and their time and their energy into setting things up deserve to have accolades acknowledged. Again, like, one of the things that's interesting, like, I know that y'all see that I'm leveling up. I'm creating a space for us to come and have these conversations. I'm not sure if y'all have seen, but like, my camera quality has gotten better. My lighting has gotten better. I'm streaming on 3 different platforms right now. All of these things have gotten better. But again, this all happened because there is incentive to continue to do this work. I'm getting awards. I'm getting acknowledged. I'm continuing to get booked. I'm putting out good and quality content as a result of that, because the reward is people notice the work that I do. And so as a result of that, I go harder in the work that I do, because people are telling me, we notice, we see, we want to acknowledge, we thank you for it. And so therefore, continue to do that for us. And I can't keep giving y'all 2015 level hope when y'all are giving me 2026 checks. And so I used to feel bad about the idea of saying that we need to be acknowledged in these spaces. But one thing that I have to understand, and one thing that I have to realize and recognize, is that if you don't tell these people that that is something that you need, they will continue to work you and 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 think that it's okay that they also leave you unseen. That is just not how the world works. Unfortunately, we are people who enjoy having a pat on the back every now and then. And if having a pat on the back every now and then makes us all narcissistic, then I guess everybody who watches this and has a 9 to 5 job, or has a job at all that they want to be recognized for, and have a motherfucker say thank you for some shit that they did in the office, is a narcissist. I just got tired of beating myself up about, whether or not something was narcissistic, or whether or not I needed to really be acknowledged about something or for something, because I do this work for the people. And it's just like, yeah, but the people will fuck your husband, Terry. They will. The people will fuck your husband, Terry. and won't even say sorry about it if you let them. And so there comes a point where you have to decide or remind yourself that you are in this for more than the work. And that has to be acknowledged, whether people like it or not. I think that's one of the reasons why people have an issue with Madison, because Madison is willing to say, I love y'all, but I need my money. I love y'all down, but I need my money. Right. And I just, I, I agree. Like I'm at a space where I agree. Really quickly, and I was gonna do a whole different video. I still might do a separate video where I name this, but this is a thing that has happened to me in the last 4 days. And so this happened since I posted that photo of me, Laverne, and Madison together. Since I posted that photo of me, Madison, and Laverne together, I have gotten, I want to say, maybe anywhere between like 10 and 12 different offers. But two of them stick out real bad. And I'm not going to name names on this because, you know, it is what it is. But if y'all are watching, hey. But the thing that's really interesting to me about how this all took place and how this is all played out is I can confidently say I've been that girl. I have been out here. I've been on the front lines. I've gotten arrested. I've organized protests. I've gotten awards for those protests. I've gotten awards for my words. I've been the first to do this, the first to do that. I've educated. I've done all of the things. I am that girl in respect to the work that I do, period. That is how I feel like I can stand on that now with 10 toes down and my full chest and not feel like I have to be modest about it. I have done the work. I've logged the man hours. Do not punish the squad for Big Red's mistake. God damn it. And so when it comes down to people wanting to book me, what I notice is that folks will send me these long ass introduction emails. Oh my God, Hope, we love you and the work that you do for the community and what you bring to the community is so great and nobody could do it like you and da 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 and blah 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 blah. We got $500 for you. Excuse me? What do you mean you have $500 for me? And then to add insult to injury is that people will turn around and tell you who else is booked. And I know for a fact that you didn't pay that person or those people $500. I know for a fact you didn't pay that person or those people a stack. $2,000. But you want me to come after you just wrote a poet laureate's version of my biography to me in this email. You want me to come and deliver that, the thing that you're praising me for. You want me to come and do that for $500. Or you want me to come and do that for 2 stacks, but you finna pay another bitch $20,000 to introduce me. Those are the things that like I need y'all, as Pride season is starting to kick up and y'all are starting to spend these last minute coins on getting these rooms filled and y'all are looking to see who's gonna be the keynotes and stuff. Don't come to me no more unless you have at least $6,000. And that is my minimum. And typically you're not supposed to like name those things, but I feel like I need to say it so that y'all can unsend and stop typing those emails right now. Because I'm sure right now there's somebody that's watching this video that was inspired. There's somebody that was watching this video that was inspired and was getting ready to send me an email with $500 on the budget. If you don't have at least $6,000, don't bother me. Especially if you're not a community organization. And especially if you ain't a Black community organization. And to me, I feel like as Black people and as within the Black community, we go in and we talk so much shit about how these white folks will lowball us and lowball our artists and not take into account our artistry and how great we are and how amazing we are. But then when it comes time for me to deal with Black promoters or Black people booking events, y'all are just as bad, if not worse. Because y'all want people to do it off of the strength of family and off of the strength of just being Black and all of these different things. And it's just like, okay, cool. But the problem with that is I can't pay my bills off of family. I cannot pay my bills because you decided that it was going to be a cute look. And I also need y'all to realize who y'all be booking for certain things. I am not an influencer. I am a person with influence. My wheelhouse is education, activism, public speaking, and being able to draw together things for HR policies and PR and marketing. I am not the girl that's going to be standing on the couches twerking and throwing ass because you paid me to be there and do that. When I do that stuff, it's because that is my downtime. That is not a job. That is not. I don't want to have to post about it. I don't want to have to. I want to go to the party and do everyday people because that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I do when I'm not doing my activist thing. And that's the other thing, Queen Baptiste. Thank you for naming that because y'all want to do that and then you can't even pay for a person to travel. Y'all can't even pay for people to travel, but you want me to show up and twerk. Understand who y'all be booking when y'all booking people. I understand that y'all just be wanting to get the names in the room, but if you're gonna book an activist and have an activist come to a club, you know you got to pay her, right? Because that ain't even what she do. That's not even what she does. I think that y'all need to understand that my work and my personal life are two completely different things. And I hate when my work is one, undervalued, and two, it's clear that you haven't done enough research to understand what my work is, that you're offering me to come and do a thing that's not even in my wheelhouse and then underpaying me to do it. So I just wanted to make that clear. I'm sick and tired of community coming to me, asking me to do shit for free after giving me this long, drawn out, like, just know. Putting it out there unapologetically about the offer you're accepting and doing it so transparent, giving your position within the culture is so big to me. I appreciate the transparency. Look, I have to put it out there because if I don't, then people continue to think that it's okay. Let me do my lip liner and give me a second. But yeah, I feel like I have to put this out there, right? Like I feel like I have to put this out there because there are so many people who like have reached out to me, who have tried to book me, who have tried to like do all of these things, and I really hate that like people are inviting me out there and thinking that like either a flight and an experience is gonna be enough, but then I get there and y'all done booked Madison, and Madison don't get out of her bed for free. So at the very least, if y'all are going to be out here trying to lowball people, don't lowball us and then put us on program with other people who we know how their program works. Because everybody know Madison don't move without a check. And we also know that that check ain't going to be a small bag. And so I have realized that I have to start to truly say no and stop doing things for community because again, community will fuck your husband. That's all I'm going to say. So this Pride season, if y'all want me to come and do anything and do my soul work, as Madison called it, and I'm so happy for that phrase. If y'all want me to come and put my soul out there on the line and be out here giving all of these motivational, inspirational speeches and all of this stuff, y'all are gonna pay for it. And it's just that simple. And if you can't afford to pay for it, that is okay. I'm not bougie in that sense, but I'm tired of being disrespectful, or I'm tired of being disrespected with some of these offers because they're not real. Like there's no way that these offers are real. And then the fact that y'all don't even respond after I tell y'all what my rate is crazy. That's even more disrespectful. I would rather you at least come back and say, my bad, we ain't got it, than to just not respond. Because that to me says, girl, who you think you are? You ain't worth that. We not even responding to that. And it makes me feel like when you saw it, you laughed. And so now I don't fuck with you. Hope, do you have a manager? I have a manager. I have a management company for my speaking gigs, and then I have a management company. It's AA speakers, and that's for my speaking gigs, and then I have a separate person for other shit that just comes up. Why you trying to be my manager? Because you only eat what you kill. If you trying to be my manager, you only eat what you kill. So don't be coming over here if you ain't got no connections to get me no bookings, because you won't be making no money, okay? Um, Go ahead and rest, poet. But yeah, you only eat what you kill over here. So I tell people that all the time. Don't be coming over here thinking you finna be my manager and collecting 10% off of nothing that you didn't make. Okay, y'all liking this? No, I'm not trying to be the manager. I just want to make sure you got somebody that regulates on your behalf. Yes, so yeah, no, I'm not trying to be the manager. I'm just asking, do you have one? But yeah, especially for my speaking stuff, I'm represented by the same people who represent Jasmine Crockett and Tamika Mallory. Are we going to see you act? I feel like it's only the only thing that we haven't seen you do. I was in a movie. I was in a movie that was in theaters at the top of the year. um, it's called Black News. It was actually directed and written by the guy who directed Beyonce's Lemonade. So I'm telling y'all, my 3 degrees of separation from Beyonce is real, like is looking real like 1.5 degrees of separation from Beyonce. I'm telling you. But yeah, so I was actually in a box office film. Some people have seen it, but I was in a box office film. I was in my first feature film. It was in the box office. Like you could have went to the theaters to go and see it. And it was called Black News. It was called Black News. And yeah, like I said, it was literally filmed and directed by the same guy who directed and filmed Beyonce's Lemonade. So I have been doing some acting, but also I think the reason why y'all don't see me doing more acting, y'all, if I can be honest with you, is because I'm afraid that the second that I start doing it, and keep in mind, I went to school for fine arts and journalism. Okay. So this would not be some random thing that I would be pulling out of my ass or something that like I'm pivoting to all of a sudden. Like I literally have a degree in fine arts. You know what I'm saying? And so I just get nervous about people weaponizing the fact that like, oh, I'm gonna be in a movie or I'm gonna do a thing as an excuse to be like, see, I told y'all she wasn't no activist. I told y'all she just wanted to do this and do all of the things. And I'm not gonna hold you, like that scares me because I never want my work to be reduced to, oh, she was just trying to be famous. Because while fame is definitely a part of the goal, it is not the reason that I do the work. So a lot of the time I find myself in a space where I'll forego an opportunity if I feel like it's going to make me look a certain way. And I know that I have to stop that. I have to get out of that because I just block myself from opportunities and the haters still going to hate from their couch. But I'm learning to stop doing that more, I will say recently. And so who knows? I might actually start, doing a cute little, I might start doing a cute little set of auditions. We never know. We never know. But I will say, like, part of the reason that y'all haven't seen me in more movies and things like that is just because I get afraid of people having that, that opinion about my work. I feel like all Black trans girls that got into acting, it seems like they used the girls and threw us away. It seems like trans stories aren't being told in film in the past few years. I don't want to say that, like, I think that that's the thing that the girls did, though. I think that that's the thing that Hollywood did. Hollywood used those girls and made those girls feel like they were going to have, you know what I'm saying? like they made those girls feel like they were going to have a lot more autonomy over things that we actually did, you know. And I believe that that's a large part of the reason why so many people divested from that world and that framework. I believe some people were kicked out, kicking and screaming because they made bad decisions for themselves. But you know, there are people who genuinely, I think, thought that they were going to have more autonomy, you know, and they just didn't, and they don't, and we don't. And a large part of trans stories being told means that you have to tell the stories that are interesting. And I think also what Hollywood realizes that a lot of white trans stories or stories that are based around white trans women don't sell. And you know, even in transness, they want to, again, they want to prioritize whiteness. Even in the things that they don't want to talk about, they want to prioritize white transness. They want to prioritize white queerness. They want to prioritize, you know, all of these things that are, you know, for and about white people. And so I really do feel like I hear what you're saying when it comes down to trans stories are not really being told anymore. But I think that we now know, because of the regime and the time period that we're in, that's part of it. But then also, I just feel like a large part of it too is that they trying to figure out a way to put Black trans stories in whiteface. I think that like we're probably going to get Hunter Schafer playing one of her most, you know, breakout roles really soon. You know, we're gonna get a cute little like, oh my God, Hunter Schafer, like you've never seen her before, and it's gonna be her cosplaying as a Black trans girl or an Afro Latina, you know, trans girl's life, but with a blonde bitch's face. Like I'm sorry, like I completely see it happening, and it's because they want stories that, you know, really move people and captivate people. But a lot of these white trans girls don't have them, and that's no tea, no shade to my white trans girls friends. It's just y'all ain't got struggle like we got struggle. Y'all don't navigate the world in the way that we navigate the world, and so the stories don't hit the same way. And I feel like the directors know that, and y'all know that. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. And I feel like what happens is when y'all realize that y'all cannot find a white girl that's, you know, whose life actually emulates that, y'all create it by way of saying that this is fiction. And it sucks, because I do feel like, you know, women like myself suffer. I feel like women like Angelica suffer because regardless of whether or not I fuck with her, that bitch is an amazing actress. She can act her face loose. She can act her face loose. There's no reason why Angelica shouldn't be in every other film or every other TV show. The way that we're seeing Anne Hathaway pop up all season. I don't know if y'all are Anne Hathaway fans. Like, I'm an Anne Hathaway fan, but I'm an Anne Hathaway fan, baby. And the way that Anne Hathaway is in the movie theaters all summer this summer, the way that the way that Anne Hathaway is in that movie theater all summer this summer, okay, I personally believe Angelica has the ability to do that. Why isn't she? She's one of the only ones that has the ability to do that outside of me. But you know, you know, yeah. But like, why isn't she? And I just feel like it's because they don't want Black trans women, you know what I'm saying, to showcase anything other than this. That's part of the reason why I did the documentary, was because every single time there is media about Black trans women, it's the stroll, it's the sidewalk, it's the hoeing, it's the abuse, it's the DL relationship. It's never just her being there. It's never just her existing. It's never her as a lawyer. It's never her as a doctor or a mom. And when they do give those roles out that are ambiguous, they give it to a white girl. Like in Mother Mary, Hunter Schafer was in Mother Mary, but her trans identity had nothing to do with it. But a role like that, they don't give to a Black trans girl, even though it wasn't like a big role. They just wouldn't give it to a Black trans woman who is well known, because they want you to believe that all Black trans women live in squalor, and all we're good for is playing prostitute number two. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But anyway, you all, this is the look. How do you all think that I did? You got to watch it in real time. No flitter, no filter. This is just moi, right? I got on 50,000 studio lights, but because the people will swear up and down that it's all AI and that it's all Facetune. I'm just an insecure ass bitch, okay? The world has made me insecure. And so even though I don't need to touch half of these photos, I do because I'm insecure. Not because I have to. Please know the difference. Please know the difference, okay? I think I might need to start giving y'all some makeup tutorials for real, for real. Angelica should have all the opportunities that Laverne has. I agree. I agree 110%. I feel like Angelica should have more opportunities than Laverne has. And that's no tea, no shade to Laverne, but I think Laverne has a very particular pocket of acting. I think that Angelica is I think that woman is a powerhouse in front of a camera. I think you exactly like this in person, and you're so small and tiny. You're so silly, Amara, but thank you. But yeah, I think that Angelica has something, man. That lady got something that is, you can't train it. You know what I'm saying? Like Angelica got something that you really can't train it. You can help to mold it and refine it, right? But you can't train that thing that she got. There's a thing that comes, like when you watched Angelica play as Candy versus playing as the camp counselor in 1976, whichever one she was in, those were two different women. And even the progression of that character in the 1976 horror show of whatever that season was, even when when there was like that time jump, it was like, when I tell you, it was just different. I just feel like Angelica was supposed to go so much farther, and it bothers me that because she called out injustice, they did their big one. Now I have my thoughts around that, right? But it also doesn't take away the fact that I feel like a cis Black woman or a cis woman could have done that and bounced back. Whereas I feel like they were just right, 1984. Thank you. They were already just in a space where I felt like they were kind of sick of her to begin with, and they used that as a way to kind of sort of just be like, okay, we're gonna get rid of you. But I think Angelica's performance, when she spoke up as Candy, that look that she gives that camera without giving that camera, because she's talking to the person past that lens, that lady speaks out into you in your living room watching the show or the movie or the whatever. And I just personally think that it's trash the way that she was kind of thrown away by the industry. I think that after she was thrown away, though, there are some things that she did that could have, right? But I do believe that, there's just, she got a talent and a skill. She has a talent and a skill. And I think that scares people when it's coming out of a vessel that you are being taught deserves the least. But it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. Fat meat still greasy and bullshit still stank. Shout out to Sade. And that's just what it is. But thank y'all so much for joining me on this Get Ready With Me. I want to let y'all know that I was officially done with my makeup in an hour. I would have been done with my makeup sooner than that, but I was talking to y'all. We just spent a couple of extra minutes chit-chatting, okay? For those of you all who don't know what this is a Get Ready with Me. And these are things that I do when I'm just getting ready for my day. We shoot the shit. We kind of go back and forth around topics. This is not the same as I'll Wait Live, which is going to be my news segmented show where I'll be talking to you about pop culture, politics, and the overall state of what we are dealing with as Black and brown people mostly in the world. We're going to be covering everything from sex and kink to what the fuck Trump got us going through. So please tune in on Wednesdays for I'll Wait Live. But pretty much typically every day that I am going to be getting ready for something, I'm going to try to do my best to do a Get Ready with Me with y'all, where we get to talk and shoot the shit. So if y'all are liking this series, make sure y'all run it up. Make sure y'all are actually tuning in and watching and telling a friend. And until next time, I will see you beautiful people later. Bye, everybody. Bum, bum, bum.